New arena, the Nokudon Proving Ground.
Oh, battleground! Ah!
Not a battleground. Where's the battlegrounds? It's been years. It's been years.
Yep.
Legion 735 was our last battleground.
Ah,
That was
that was a long time ago.
5 years ago. And before that, like, the rate of battlegrounds had slowed down too. I just don't get why they don't make multiple battlegrounds and just treat it like, you know, there doesn't need to be a narrative reason for doing a new battleground. It's like, hey, imagine I just said, hey, yeah, we've got a new 10v10 battleground. Just treat it like maps in a competitive game or something. I don't know. I feel like they have a very high bar of new and different that's like needed to do a battleground. Whereas when they just kind of were like, yeah, this is Arithai Basin. We'll do a 3-point version of it for Gilneas. It's like, okay, keep it going.
Yeah.
I like more of these. I'd like more of these. Let's go.
Yeah.
Why don't we have these and the other cool continents of the cool tile sets you've made? And it just, yeah, I don't know. Now, this is something that they do want to improve, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think Linka did say that in an interview.
They've hired a load of PvP people as well.
Yeah, yeah. It is just a bit, I mean...
Redheaded
PvP
stepchild.
has always been the most, like, make your own content.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's always been the mode the most like that, but I would have certainly hoped for more. On the bright side, at least, in fairness to them, for world PvP, there is actually a currency and, like, a vendor and world PvP quests, so that actually could be quite fun. I mean, hey, if it's anything like the 8.1 faction assaults, then yeah, that would be pretty nice. Stoji, as said, still wanting to be accepted in pugs with my shaman. So there you go. Someone is LFG for some RBGs, stuck at a 1500 rating. You know, it's funny with RBGs.
Ellie, haha.
I've always thought of RBGs and thought, like, fuck yeah, that'd be really fun, because I actually really enjoy, like, PvP stuff. Not really the arena format, but objective-based PvP. I really, really love in games. I mean, even going back to Halo, right, with all of its different wacky fun modes, that was always the best shit. And, like, okay, so this is the bit of the challenge. Whenever you're going to do solo queue, that in a MOBA, you can have a pick ban system.
Yeah.
And that can work out just fine. But in a game like World of Warcraft, it's just you going in with your class. So that means that the composition, rather than being selected by the people who are going to be fighting against each other, that means that the team comp is basically selected by whatever set of rules Blizzard implements for their matchmaking. Yeah. And I bring this up because I would love to be able to get some solo queue conquest points via battleground gameplay. That's what I would like. And you know, because different sorts of gameplay suit different people. Like, say in a shooter game, I'm usually pretty good at the shooting bit. But when I actually do really well in those games, it's because generally the strategic shit and the objective shit is like where my focus is. And I just find that there's just more ways to play. There's more interesting things. It's more dynamic when it's an objective-based mode. And for me, that's a really good solo queue experience. But that's impossible within World of Warcraft. I can do solo queue BGs. And there have been a few times, usually at the start of the expansion, where getting a character and then gearing that character via BGs, getting some honor gear, I think for a lot of people, like, that actually can feel pretty damn good. I'd love to be able to do that for Conquest via solo queue RBGs. I think that would be great. And while composition is really important, Blizzard could set up some basic rules for comp. And I really think it would be okay. I think comp matters a lot more in just a straight up 3v3 or 2v2 fight.
Yeah.
So going to that, like, that's just a good example there, you know, who's super, that's the players like, I want to do this kind of content, but it's really hard to find a team for RBGs. What do I do?
Yeah,
And, I think solo queue for that would be great.
yeah, it's one of those things where I imagine they're just kind of taking their time one step at a time because
Yeah.
they're doing the solo shuffle. At the minute, they'll maybe try to go for RPGs if that works out. But as to whether that work out is a different question. But that's well, nah, it goes start talking about like how PvP is like boosting heavy and stuff like that at points, which will put people away from solo. But I don't know. Hopefully they do it at the time because
I think I vaguely remember Helinka saying it's something they're open to or like desire to do, but you know they have to put one foot after another.
To be fair, based on Helinka's general communication, that's almost all he seems to say, which is, we would love to do this, but we can't really do that at the minute. We'll do it eventually, which, and there's nothing wrong with that if that's true, but it is like they clearly are shaping up their resources in PvP maybe a little bit slower than would be ideal for PvP players.
Yeah,
Let's put the diplomatic spin on that.
But at least there have been team size increases. Or so hopefully, not that we want to be saying hopefully, obviously, but hopefully that does get better.
And obviously, like we're saying, that manifested in the world PvP stuff that they're doing. That's like more designed,
Which is
than usual,
nice.
and a lot of the PvP changes. I don't know if they're good at all, but there's definitely a lot of like PvP changes here and there for like PvP talents, and like there was one that was something in this build, which is a PvP talent that all ranged spellcasters and healers share now, which is called Precognition, which is a PvP talent that if an interrupt is used on you when you're not casting a spell, you get 15% haste and become immune to loss of control effects for 4 seconds. And that is like
Spicy.
that's such a great PvP talent. That's literally like, oh, are you good at this game? Get 15% haste, because that's a whole part of the actual skill of playing the game that they're like, yep, fuck it, PvP talent, make it like reward you super hard for that. It's pretty fun.
Damn nice. Yeah, like it ain't necessarily the world that we're in, but there's definitely a world where I'd want to have a warrior absolutely geared to the tits for some PvP.